Welcome to Concert Pipeline. I'm Steve Jones. Today on the program, we have an interview with the band called Maygen and the Birdwatcher. This is a band I discovered and dove into their music a little bit. I felt the heart and the emotion from their music and love hearing their story. So we're going to get into that in just a few minutes here. Before we do, we have a review of a concert that I went to this past weekend down in Los Angeles, one that I'd been looking forward to for a while, a very, very long while. One might say even 17 years, and I never thought it would be possible to happen. And so it was just this incredible experience to get to see the format live again. That's right. Nate Ruess and Sam Means got together and they brought a couple of shows to life with their former band, The Format. Now, as I was telling people about this concert that I was going down to LA for, they looked at me with blank stares as to who The Format is. They're a band that's pivotal to my musical tastes and growth back in 2003 to 2008 ish. But most people don't know who The Format is. But they would know Nate Ruess from his band Fun, which was the biggest band in the world in 2012, with through their song "We Are Young" with Janelle Monáe, and other hits that they had around that time. And then they broke up shortly after that. Nate Ruess did a solo album that did not do well. Jack Antonoff from Fun went off to form Bleachers and win a 1,000 Grammys between that band and most of his producing work with Taylor Swift and other female musicians. And Nate Ruess hasn't heard from for like 10 years. He went off to start building a family and being a dad, and you respect that. It was always this thing that I was like, the world is missing his music right now. He has such musical talent, and I love his music so much that I can't believe that he's just not doing it. So they announced 4 shows, and one of them was in Los Angeles. My buddy John was able to get tickets to the show. I did not get tickets before they sold out, but luckily he had one with my name on it. So drove down to Los Angeles, made the 400-mile trek down, and when you're driving down and you have something really to look forward to, it just kind of goes so quickly, right? It's that drive back that is very difficult and miserable. But The Format was playing, and I was so incredibly excited. And so we drove down there. I drove down. They were playing at Hollywood Forever Cemetery, which is a venue I'd never been to. It is a legit cemetery, and there are famous people that reside there. One I know, David Lynch. I didn't look up. I should have looked up a whole list, but there are a lot of people that you wouldn't know. But it's higher class people that can afford a luxury tombstone with their picture on it and stuff. But anyway, I digress. I had already got the ticket, but I ended up being able to get a photo pass for the show, which was incredible because I would get to be in the photo pit, bring some content for the program. Phantom Planet was opening the show, which I had seen them before, but it had been quite a while, maybe 20 years for them too, although I'm not counting the years with Phantom Planet. Uh, and and so they opened up the show, and they had a 9-song set, of course, closing with their big hit "California" from the show The OC. It was the theme song for that show. But they had a fun set. And again, I don't know a lot about Phantom Planet. I do know that Jason Schwartzman, famous actor, was their drummer for a moment when they started out, and parted ways with the band to go pursue his acting career. And never really came back, I don't think. But they have that kind of legacy of having had him in the band early on. So they put on a fun set. Really, it was just stalling for me until The Format came on. And I was excited that this was an early show because I'm an old guy and I don't like being out too late, but I would stay out however late I needed to see The Format. And so I go in the photo pit, and I'm just counting down the minutes. I'm excited. I'm just, at a natural calm at the same time. that this is going to happen. And and I had seen clips and things building up over the couple weeks beforehand of through the shows. I didn't watch a ton, but I saw a couple clips and just got to get myself a little bit excited about the show. The format also played on the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, and I watched that performance of their new single "Holy Roller," which is incredible. I love it. I love their new single "Holy Roller." I listened to it like 12 times. It's just catchy. It's great, and it feels like classic format. It just does. And then the day that they played the Jimmy Fallon show, which was 4 days before the show I was going to, they announced a new album that is called Boycott Heaven. So that is coming out in January. So looking forward to that. I need the album. I need the full album. Let's do this. Let's go. Um, but so the format comes on, and they open the set with a song "If Work Permits," and it's this song that builds up, and it's just great. And I'm just there, and I'm closer than front row, and I'm getting video of this for the performance. I'm taking pictures, and and Nate Roos is just epic. He has this incredible stage presence. Sam Means over there on the guitar. There's the rest of the band. Will Noon on the drums, who he was in the band originally as well. So they brought him back. It was a really lively performance. Nate Roos' stage presence was just incredible. He interacted with the audience. He really connected, made a point to connect with the crowd and give them the show that they all wanted. He, at one point during the show, mentioned that he was retired, and so this is like just crazy for him to come back out of retirement and play a show, but he did it. So we're gonna play a song from the format now, and we'll close with one later at the end of the program. But let's play a song from their set, the second song. It's called "Wait, Wait, Wait." Here it is. That was the format here on Concert Pipeline. Again, just such an incredible experience. They played songs from their albums, Dog Problems, from Interventions and Lullabies. They played Snails. And one thing that I will say, as I'm, a legit reviewer here of a concert, the other three shows that they had played in New York, in Arizona, they had brought out a special guest in the encore. So all of the fans were expecting a special guest to come out at this show, which just based on the trends that they had done, they brought out the Jim Adkins from Jimmy Eat World at their first show back in Arizona. They brought out Ben Queller in the two New York shows. Granted, Ben Queller was opening the show, but they brought him out to play a cover with them at both shows. And so we were like, okay, they're going to have a special guest. And as a fan of this band, I found out, by the way, that Jack's Mannequin was playing in Los Angeles the following night. I almost stayed out another day, but I couldn't do it. I was also said, you know what, I'm going to see Jack's Mannequin in November with a couple of buddies up in San Francisco. I'm going to be patient. I'm going to sit this one out. But I was fairly confident that Andrew McMahon would be the special guest in the encore. That did not happen. Andrew did not come out and play a song with the format, which was a surprise to me and other people, because I know I saw rumblings from other people that thought there might be a chance of that happening as well. Other Jack's Mannequin fans, those bands are very, very similar and close. Also, Nate has toured with Andrew's bands, with Something Corporate, with Jack's Mannequin, in his bands, The Format and Fun. And so they've crossed paths through their younger years. And this would have been a great reconciliation, coming together again. Didn't happen. And I don't think that Nate came out during Jack's Mannequin set the following night either. It just, I guess, didn't connect for whatever reason. But they mixed the sets. They played Holy Roller, of course. And then in the encore, instead of having a special guest came out, they played a song that no one knew. No one had heard it. It was the first time it was ever played. It's a song called Boycott Heaven off of that album. And so that was interesting because it wasn't one that people had their phones out for to record or anything. They just didn't know it, couldn't sing along, but it was interesting. I need to hear it a little bit more before I know whether I really love it or not. But we'll hear it as it gets closer to the new album, I'm sure. So, all right, let's go ahead and let's move forward into our interview. Again, this is Maygen and the Birdwatcher. Let's bring them in on now. Here it is. Hey, Maygen, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Thanks for the flexibility in time and
Oh
everything.
yeah, no worries. I know how family life goes. Sometimes you just got to be like, whatever.
Uh,
I'll make everything work. We'll figure it
You,
out.
you make it all work. You fit it
Yeah.
all in. You make it work, right? So, Noah, how are you
Right.
doing?
I'm well. How are you, Steve?
It's good. I'm doing good. Thank you. And I'll
Good.
thank you as well for the flexibility and timing to make
Yeah.
this happen. I'm glad we were able to all sync up.
Yeah. Glad we can make
Yes.
it work.
Yes. How
It
was your
actually
evening treating you?
it actually worked out perfectly because tonight was my son's last football game. It was like 48 degrees and raining and like terrible all the way until basically 8 o'clock. So like if we were gonna do an
Uh-huh.
8 o'clock for our time, like I would have been late anyways. So
Well,
yeah.
it worked. Look, it worked out all over. So
Yeah.
yeah. You didn't have to rush. You were able to make it. I skidded in on my heels and still made it. We're off
Perfect.
here. We're off here. And Noah, how was your
Mhm.
evening? Did you
So,
spend it out in the rain watching sports as well?
no, unfortunately, it sounds like a lot of fun, but no, I was much more boring tonight.
Yeah. Okay. So
Mhm.
you were ready then. You
Well,
did
I
time.
was, and then I was not. Yeah.
Yeah. It's good. Well, cool. Well, I mean, we have a lot to talk about, of course. We have some new music. We have, some older music. But I like to start kind of toward the beginning and kind of get a sense for, what music you were listening to when you were younger. What were your parents playing in their household that was kind of influential?
Oh man. Noah, you want to start while I gather my thoughts?
Yeah, I was in a very musical family. As far as listening wise, my dad was the main kind of driving force there, and it was like so much different stuff and like classic rock and jazz and funk and stuff like that. So it'd be like, it'd be like Allman Brothers, Joe Cocker was really big, Mad Dog is an Englishman, but then like Spyro Gyra and the Crusaders and 10 years after and bands like that. So uh pretty diverse exposure. A lot of Joni Mitchell, Linda Ronstadt. Um, so that was most of my childhood, was like listening to music like that. And then when I went to middle school, I found out about death metal, and
You
then I did
did.
that
Your
for a
parents didn't
while.
get you into that though.
Cool.
So
No, that wasn't their wheelhouse. But then I got really into death metal for a while.
it's a big swing from Joni Mitchell to death metal, I'll just say. So
What?
Well, not always as big,
Music
but yeah,
too?
it was that, it was that. But yeah, and then I had a friend who, well, kind of, which is timely for today. I had a friend who exposed me to like R&B and neo soul, which I started playing. But actually, the main artist who was a big influence on me was D'Angelo, who passed away today.
yeah,
So
yeah,
rest in
wow.
peace, D'Angelo.
Right,
Yeah,
I saw
which is
that.
a real bummer, real bummer. So
Yeah,
um,
big loss.
yes, but I've had the benefit of having strong musical influences in my life to give me, I would say, a diverse palette.
Yes.
Okay,
And
well, yeah. I'll piggyback on that. I did not have that. I did not have like strong musical influences, but nonetheless, when you're born with a passion for music, it finds its way. I grew up with a single mom, and we listened to 90s country, like 90s country radio station, all the time. And then the other ones that I remember are John Cicada, Elton
Mhm.
John, and then Bonnie Raitt and Chris Ria. So that's
Yeah.
kind of like my childhood of music listening that I thought was pretty interesting. I love all the 90s country artists for sure.
Garth Brooks, Trisha Yearwood, Brooks and Dunn,
Yep.
all of this. Yeah. Yeah.
Travis Tritt, Randy
Nice.
Travis, Clint Black, like
Yeah.
all those people. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, I mean, some of that bleeds into your music as well, right? So,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Kind of tell me where that country feel came from. Was that unified in when you started making music together?
No, I mean, our first EP that we came out with in 2018 was pretty folk, just kind of folky. I also diverted for a while in my 20s into, I worked for a metal hardcore, rock, whatever label, and listened to all that kind of music for a good 10 years, or whatever, 8 years, until I decided that, acoustic guitar and the lighter side of life is actually pretty cool for like songwriting for me and like my voice and whatever. I would never try to like do the kind of music that I listened to or worked for, but um but yeah, as far as country, I don't know, Noah. I mean, we were folk, and then we got some bluegrass boys that joined the band for our first record, and then we've just kind of like found our voice in the somewhere in between, like the molding of the folk, bluegrass, country umbrella, which is
Yeah,
Americana, I guess.
yeah, it was just the people that we were around and trying things out and kind of being like, oh yeah, well, this works for us. Let's go down this path a little bit. So
Yeah.
And Megan, you were born and raised in Minnesota. So, like, was there? Tell me about the kind of the music scene growing up when you in Minnesota.
Yeah, I mean, I was in high school, and I did show choir, and I did whatever songs were on the radio. And then after that, I was a waitress for a couple years, loved music, I was a cocktail waitress at a music venue here called Fine Line. And so that's where I saw Brandy Carlisle come through on her like very first show ever in Minneapolis, and fell in love with her and fell in love with the idea of trying to do music. But I was like totally crippled by just being way too scared to perform, to write,
Yeah.
to sing, to do anything. Like, I will work in music and I will like be the behind the scenes person, you know, but I will never like sing and write, you know, was kind of my thing for many, many years. Which is fine because that's how I met my husband. We worked at a record label together, etc. So like that's great. But as far as music scene, like I just went to a lot of shows here and I worked at the Fine Line and then I moved to Chicago. Then I started a family out in California. So like
San Diego, right? Yeah.
yeah. So like the scene when I was growing up, I wasn't really here for it because I had kids starting at 23, 24 years old, and then was like into the family life for a while until music was like, no, you want to sing, you want to be a performer, do this, Megan, you know? So it took quite a while to like come around to actually be like, all right, I'm not scared anymore. I'm still scared, but like, I'm going to do it anyways because like, life is just telling me to do it, you know? So, yeah, it's been quite a ride. I can't really say that I've dug too much into the Minneapolis scene, you know, until we've been performing for the past, what, 5 years or so? Yeah.
Yeah. And Noah, tell me about where you grew up and kind of the music scene for you.
Yeah, I just grew up north of the cities, and my first exposure to the scene was like the mid-aughts is when I was in the hardcore metal band. So that was my first real experience in there, and that's where you know it would like that was the era where you would take over like a coffee shop and then just beat the crap out of each other. Not like you know negatively, but just you know like that's what it was.
Yeah.
The show you just turn the lights off in a coffee shop at like 7:30, and then you just went hard with someone's crappy PA. So that was my first thing, and that was so eye opening to the strength of the communities around here, the camaraderie and the fellowship that comes with, um, you know, I'd say more niche genre and stuff like that. And I don't, not that we're necessarily like in a niche genre like net right now, but especially like the overlapping to like more straight bluegrass and traditional. There is a lot of that strong camaraderie and just music sickos, man. There are just some absolute sickos in town, and just players that who are
Thank
just
goodness.
so yeah, you know, players who just would just do it for the love of the game, pretty much.
Yeah.
Which is cool because we don't have the glitz and the glam around here. You can't really chase some like some illusion of like, you know, if I just play a couple of these shows, then I'll whatever I can do this Nashville bar or get discovered in LA and be an actor, which is fine if you want to do that. But I'm just saying, like, if you're going to be around here, you have to really dig in. You have to really love what you're doing, and that is very apparent. So it's a
Yeah.
pretty cool place to be a part of. You know, it doesn't get like a ton of national attention anymore, but it's a serious heartbeat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great community of people here for sure.
Yeah. And Noah, you took piano lessons as a kid, but it was kind of pushed on you a little bit. I don't think you were a fan of it really, right?
No, I hated it. It was like the opposite way in how I wanted to like interact with music and like and be creative because I think I wanted to be creative then, but like having structure and working through these books, I just it was the dumbest. And it was a couple of years here that I was just I was forced to do piano, hated it, tried to get it all the sick all the time. But it wasn't until that I went to a different piano teacher, Patty Lou Sheen, where she was able to identify some of the creativity. So she was the one to say, what if we do part of this, which is like the on the page stuff, and then the other part, why don't we try to be more creative and where you take it where you want to take it and things like that. And that like clicked in my head of that. I think the inspirational pieces and the connection was made from there. And oh, you know, I can be encouraged to be creative, and I can take risks and chances and play things how I hear them. I think that was a big part. So
Yeah. So let's talk about your songwriting a little bit. So Noah, I know for you it was "If It Takes a Lifetime" by Jason Isbell. Talking about clicking.
mhm,
That's what made it kind of click for you with songwritings, right? So tell me kind of
mhm.
about that experience and what that did for you.
Yeah. I have always written music, at least as far back as I can remember, but lyrics I've always let others kind of take the ball there. But with Megan and I being together, we both kind of challenged each other to interact. You know, Megan came in as just a singer, I came in as just a guitar player, but we both kind of pushed each other to overlap and do these different things and try different things. But I think yeah, hearing Jason and kind of his methodology and his mindset of like doing less, and it's what's the least amount you can do to get away with a good song, like not like to be lazy, but just like we're not trying to overfill everything. So, and just the authenticity, I think how raw he could show his life without having to, he's not trying to build anything up. He's not trying to make a false not trying to make a false narrative about himself. He obviously writes about people who are not himself, but just that song in particular was such a striking image of that perspective. And the songwriters I had, there's lots of, like I said, growing up, there was lots of good songwriters in my house that we listened to, but I think just where I was in my life, where I was with playing in the band, that song just like turned the light on.
Yeah. Was there something for you, Maygen, that kind of made a click or kind of helped you kind of get to where you're at now with your songwriting?
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned Brandy Carlisle and being a cocktail waitress. At that time in my life, I was out of high school, didn't really have plans for college, wasn't sure what to do necessarily. I knew I loved music, but I was also scared of music, of like being a person that like, it didn't connect for me that I could write my own songs and like actually do that. I don't know why, like maybe it was just a lack of education in my high school, or like in just the way I was brought up. I just thought that wasn't attainable for me, or like an avenue that I could pursue. But seeing Brandy Carlisle for the first time, she was opening up for Mark Broussard.
Yeah, I've interviewed him a couple times. He's great.
Yeah, he's
love
awesome.
Mark. Yeah.
So she was opening up for him on her debut record, which was, I think, self-titled Brandy Carlisle. And I got her CD that night, and I was just like totally awestruck by her voice, but also just like the way that she carried herself. And she was just so confident in these songs that she wrote. And she was just talking about these songs she wrote and whatever. There's a song, I think it's like the first one on the record, that's called Follow. And it just opens with like, follow your heart and see where it might take you. Don't let the world outside there break you. And I'm just like, man, well, my heart is saying go into music, Brandy, like, so it just kind of started there, and it still took many years. I still went into music, like a backwards route of working at a record label and all that stuff. But it was all building blocks into finally doing the thing. So, yeah, I would say Brandy Carlisle was a very gigantic piece of my musical puzzle for sure.
Yeah. You two met in 2017, and tell me kind of about that meeting and how that progressed to building Maygen and the Birdwatcher. Like it took 4 years for your first album to come out, but tell me that process for you.
Yeah, so we met in like 2016, 2017, right?
Yeah,
I was in this kind of like folky Christian kind of Need to Breathe-ish band duo, but we needed a band because we got an offer to open up for Indigo Girls for like this thing, and I was like, oh, this is legit. We need a real band. We can't just be a duo. That's lame. So I was singing at a church out in the suburbs of West Minneapolis, and Noah was also playing guitar there, and I thought his guitar was, he was great at guitar, obviously, but then we just got along, and so I was like, well, maybe I'll just ask him to come play guitar for us, and we'll just kind of do this thing for this one gig. He wound up joining the band for a little while. A little while, but we got along very well, and our vision was kind of like, okay, well, we actually want to write about this kind of stuff, and we want to kind of go this direction. So pretty swiftly, we just kind of went that direction, just the two of us together, to start writing our own songs, and then we built it from there. We were still a duo for our first release, and then in really the end of 2019 is when we decided to try to like add to our sound, which of course is right before 2020. So like we got the band together in December of 2019, and we're like, yes, this is gonna be
right on time.
It's gonna be so
Let's
cool.
schedule a whole
2020,
tour, and yes,
2020 is the year, you know. So as you know how that went. But
yeah.
it gave us a lot of time to be masked and you know, writing and being in the same room with these people that we've decided we're gonna write music with. So yeah, I mean, at that point, Noah, who did we have? We had like at least five of us, right?
Yeah, no, we had Ethan on bass then, and his
Yeah,
brother.
upright
We found
bass,
from his
mandolin
brother
slash
Jesse,
fiddle.
who's still with us. We
Mhm.
found Nick, our banjo player, at an open mic night above a sushi restaurant,
Heck yeah, we did.
Nice.
and then we met Peter
Peter.
Anderson through a mutual friend of
Um,
mine because we were looking for recording spaces and studios, and he had suggested Peter as an engineer. But we kind of told Peter what we were looking for, and he's like, "Well, how about I just play drums with you guys, and someone else could do it."
Because
So
Peter was
we,
like the original, like, I believe in you guys. You guys are so
mhm.
great. And he's constantly always just been that guy. He's like, I believe in you guys. You're so great, which is
So
the best.
we met Peter the first day that we actually started working on our first album. And we basically sent him the songs before that. So he came in and played with us on day one. And we took 2 days to record that album. And then he's been with us ever since. So
Yeah.
Nice. And Noah, did you have the nickname the Birdwatcher before before the band kind of title came together?
no, I've had a lot of nicknames throughout my time, but it was never Birdwatcher. I am a Birdwatcher. So
Yes.
but mostly it was just we were looking for something to put with Megan's name because we like the idea of having Megan as one of the names of the band. We wanted something that was going to be flexible. We had started with Birdwatchers, and then there was some copyright or infringement stuff there that we were notified
Ooh.
about. So we chopped that because we're like, well, we're kind of a duo, we're kind of a band, so we'll just be like, Noah and the Whale, that band. So we're like, okay, cool, we'll just be Megan the Birdwatcher, and it can be vague. It's a band, it's not a band, So,
Yeah.
but now I am the Birdwatcher. So
You are. What birds do you like to watch? What do you look for?
I mean, all of them. They're all great in their own ways. Sparrows are boring, but besides that, man, I appreciate them all.
You think
Truly,
sparrows are boring?
they're just
Why?
everywhere. They're just everywhere, and they're chatty. I mean, they're cute, but I just don't need to see another sparrow. Because I
Hmm.
look at them a lot, and they're all over the place. But here's the deal: the thing I've always said is birds ain't gonna watch themselves, so it's important that we do it for them.
You have a
Yeah.
mission. Yeah.
You do. You do.
I do. I gotta watch them.
Yeah. I'm a duck hunter, so
Are you?
Oh my God.
I like to watch birds myself.
Yeah. No. Hey,
Until they
I'm
die.
I know.
That's true. I mean,
Yeah.
hey, I will admit some birds are very tasty. So
Yes.
there you go.
So it's enjoyable.
Yes.
So yeah. So tell me how it went. So when you released Moonshine, that was in 2021. Things in COVID changed a little bit by that point, right? Were you able to get out and play some shows around that?
Yeah, so in 2021 basically was our first kind of year of like trying to figure out doing the band thing and like releasing some singles. We got signed to this indie label called Anti-Fragile that was like an indie pop kind of label. It was not a good fit, but whatever. We were still signed. Someone was interested in us, whatever. We got some publicity out of it. And we released singles until our debut full-length album came out in October, which was so exciting and like just so cool to just be so fresh and into this thing where we're a full band. And like we didn't play a whole bunch of shows, but we did some like really cool ones that were kind of bucket list ones for us kind of right out of the gate, which was neat. And just kind of gave us a shot in the arm to feel like, oh, we're onto something. And then we won some awards after that from the Midwest Country Music Organization for like Album of the Year and Americana Artist of the Year. And we're like, oh man, this is so cool. So then we were just off and rolling, from that point and just kind of like making the most of everything we could from there and just saying yes to many things.
So what led to those awards? Like, did you get radio play locally, and that's how your music got out? Like, how did you get nominated for them?
Oh, yeah. So
Yeah.
the Midwest Country Music Organization, I guess I can't quite remember all the way back, but I think at that time they also had like there's a component to that organization where they also have connections with like, I think 30 regional radio stations.
Wow. Okay.
Which is just giant if you're an independent band or anyone who's like, hey, I think my music is pretty good and I think it's country-ish, like, and so we submitted our songs to them. And yeah, so they basically, I don't know how large the organization is at this point, and so things could have changed. I guess I'm not sure, but you submit your songs, and then there's like a weekly show that happens that's like pre-recorded and then sent out to these like 30 different radio stations in the region, and it plays on the radio. So there's probably, I don't know, 30 or 40 songs in the show that get played, and so then yeah, our songs started just getting played in the area, and then it just kind of snowballed from there. And it's kind of funny, like thinking back on just the beginnings of everything. Is very exciting. Good stuff.
Do you remember the first time you heard your song on the radio?
Okay. Noah, do you? I remember the first time my first band's song played on the radio, which was a band called Sparrows Rising, which was that Christian adjacent rock band, whatever. But Noah, was it Bob FM?
Actually, the radio, probably Bob FM. Yeah, probably you're right. It would have been Bob, that or the Wolf. But yeah, I mean, I think we the first time I heard it was probably we were in studio in the radio, and it played on the radio because we were there. But I'm trying to think like the first time I was not in a radio station hearing our song. It's actually was. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh no. Okay, this might not be the right one. Oh, it was Comeback. It was Comeback. Mike Pingra on The Current. He played Comeback.
Oh, yeah, you're probably right. Long time ago.
That was forever ago. Oh man, that was so cool. Because The Current here is like, I mean, and it's really known across the country as being an amazing radio station. It's part of NPR, and it's just fantastic. We're so lucky to be in Minneapolis or St. Paul, where they're based. But they've really shown us love from the very beginning, and they're so great with local artists, Minnesota artists, and they support and they play our music on the radio, and it's their station, which is just so cool. It's just so cool when you're a musician. You just can't get over. Of course, that's the goal. You want to hear your, like on the radio, like turn it to the station and turn it up, and while you're driving, whatever, like, that does not get old. But yeah.
And Comeback for You is a very personal song. It's one that has moved you to tears, I hear. And so was that an emotional experience to hear on the radio?
Yeah, it really was. It was a good reminder that it's important to write about things, even if it can be difficult, even if it's a really just sensitive topic or personal to you. Like if it's personal to you and important to you, there is a sea of people out there that also need to hear the song, is what I'm learning, like, and not everybody can be that open and personal. It's very difficult for me to like get there with this, with a song. A lot of times you kind of want to like make it a little more accessible, but sometimes you just have to write exactly what's on your heart. And that song was exactly what was on my heart at the time. And it's been one of the songs that is usually ends in at least a teardrop for me if we do perform it live, which we don't perform it live that often. But it's an important one, and it always will be. Yeah.
It's very cool. So we should talk about the Americana Dream, of course. Just came out this past week. It was produced by John Fields. Tell me about working with John. What did he bring to this album for you?
Yeah, John is a madman. He is very different. It was very different for us to work with John, and the process we took, because every other time we've done this in the past, we have recorded in like 1 to 2 days and like just try to get at least like the instrumentation. But this one we ended up spreading out, I think technically over 4 calendar years of
Wow.
when the original first like single demo that we recorded there way back when with John, and then coming back to it. And obviously we've taken big breaks in between. But so yeah, John, you know, people were saying like, you know, because Peter, our drummer, was the one who hooked us up when it was like, you know, he's has had a lot of success. He's got a great ear, but you know, be prepared to be challenged, and because John is going to look for how to make this the best no matter what. And I think it was such a good fit for us to do that process and to be challenged in that way. And you know, like not like conflict, because we all three of us got along. It was mostly the three of us who were working on it the most amount, but we all three got along through the whole process. But it was so good to kind of have that like fine tuning everything. Every note has a reason to be there. Every harmony is there. We're doing these things. We're not gonna like cut corners. It's going to be right, which is great. And he also was invested in it as well. You know, it wasn't like, you know, sometimes people are like, oh man, I just, you know, love your stuff. I really want to work with you. But you know, it's like you can tell when someone actually like wants to kind of geek out over the sound of something and wants to get something right. And I'm sure he does that with everybody he works with. But it was really encouraging. And I mean, I think it makes a big difference. And I think you can hear that of the time we took and the effort we put into crafting every song. And it's, you know, it's not just the songwriting portion of it, you know, the performances and everything, and all the quality. That's what makes something sound good. And I think this album sounds good.
Can
Yes,
I
Megan.
add this ridiculously serendipitous, awesome thing right now? I just looked it up. Our first session with John was today, October 14th, 3 years ago, 2022.
3 years ago.
When he sent us
Are
the
you
first
kidding me?
mix. No, it was 2022, Friday, October 5th, 14th,
Wow.
that we
Okay.
did our first session with him, which was This Love. All I know.
Wow.
It's come full circle. Come full circle. Yeah.
So 3 years now, not 4 years, but yeah.
But a good while,
Yeah.
a good while still. Yeah.
That's crazy.
And like you said, a lot went into it, and it's very, you know, it has a spiritual layer too. Gates of heaven, you know, pondering about like what it would be like to die, that sort of thing. So like do you get in a room together, I mean you write, or do you kind of separate and then bring your ideas together? Like how did this begin?
Yeah, a lot of what we do is separate as far as just kind of our the like the backbone of a song, like lyrically and melody wise, for the most part, like we'll do separately. Like for Gates of Heaven, that one was just like, I was working on that one while I was washing dishes as a lunch lady at my kids' school. I don't know why, but like that's my main memory of that song, like washing a whole bunch of like elementary school kids' trays, you know, back in God knows when, 2020 or 2019. Anyways, yeah, so the lyrics come for me like just doing mundane tasks and or being outside, digging in the garden, going on a nature walk, whatever. And then once something is formed, I'll bring it to Noah. And I think he's pretty much the same. Like he does stuff in the shower or whatever, right, Noah?
I do stuff in the shower. Yeah, the shower, you know, taking a shower, driving, just having alone time, same like washing dishes at home. 2 a.m, laying in bed, waking up going, oh, that's an idea. I should write that down.
Do you
Yeah.
do that at 2 a.m? Do you write
Yeah.
it down at 2?
I try to. I don't
I
always.
tell
and
my
I will
brain, I'm like,
always forget.
I'm gonna remember. I'm gonna remember.
No, I have to actually get up and do it. But yeah, so much of it, like the crafting happens. Like I say, like I probably spend at least 5 or more hours working on like a song in my head before I ever like pick up a guitar. So we do a lot of stuff separate, and then when we have I think a solid skeleton of a song, or like the identity of a song, then we'll send it to the other person, and then we help. Then we tend to work with the other person to craft the rest of it from there.
Sure. And Megan Elizabeth is named after your daughter, but it's not really a song about your daughter. Tell me kind of where you went there with that song.
Yeah, I was again waiting in the elementary school line where you feel like cattle and like there's hundreds of cars and you're just like waiting to pick up your child. And I'm just like, Elizabeth. But then eventually it turned into a song because I had nothing better to do. So it was it was inspired by her name, but then as any kind of creative does, you start with an inspiration and then it can go anywhere. So like for that song, this song isn't necessarily like inspired by like her personality or the way she is or anything. I just kind of went off on a tangent of saying, of course, I love the name Elizabeth. That's what I named my child. So yes, I love that name. But then also what other Elizabeths are there? There's Queen Elizabeth, you know, and then I was just thinking of kind of a character that we all probably know in our lives, like someone that maybe just has a tough time giving other people space or other people, you know, validation or opinions, you know, someone who is very magnetic, but also is a difficult person to that, like they just can't relinquish control of anything, you know, and so you love them and you want to be around them, but you know, it's like their way or the highway. So so that's kind of how that song is. But yeah, it's not about my daughter, but I do love the name.
Very cool. Let's put one more off for you to tell me a little bit about Feel Good. You know, I like the idea of that one. It's, you know, healing after a hardship. Was there a particular hardship that kind of came to mind when you were writing that song?
I think Millie Moon is kind of healing after a bit of a
Oh,
hardship. Feel Good, that one is more just about the idea of going home and being out on the road for a long time
mm,
and just imagining what it would be like to go home. Or sometimes you can go home and sometimes you can't, and it's not even there, and it doesn't even, like, your town doesn't even look the same as when you were a kid. So we were just like writing about what it must be like to go back home to when you were younger and visit with all of the memories. But what about Millie Moon, Noah?
Yeah, that came out of a personal period of time of just kind of like having a air of melancholy, I guess, you know, after an event that happened in my family life. And I wrote it. The lyrics, a lot of the lyrics came to me again at 3 a.m. in a tent after we played this festival in Wisconsin. And I couldn't sleep because I was thinking about all these words and kind of like that process, I think, which doesn't happen very often. So you kind of have to like try to catch lightning in a bottle when this thing is occurring. It's like a perfect storm. But kind of in the process of writing the lyrics, that is the thing that kind of softened my heart and helped kind of clear that air and things like that. So that song was kind of that, writing the song was the healing process in a lot of the ways. And then I didn't sleep at all. And then the Blue Jays were insanely loud at like 5:30 a.m. So I just got up and I started walking, and I think I
As they
was
do.
thinking about the rest of the song from there, and that's what it came. So I didn't sleep at all, but I wrote that song. So
Yeah, that
it,
song
it,
didn't change at all. The way that you wrote it was basically the way that we performed it.
it's true. Yeah,
Yeah.
it all comes back to the birds.
it does. There's often birds in the stories. Funny how that works.
Yeah. Uh, so as we wind down, I'm curious, is there, I mean, you play a lot of shows around the Midwest. Obviously, you both are parents, so that I imagine that keeps you pretty well rooted in that general area, but you get out a decent amount and play shows also. Is there a particular show that you're really fond of that kind of sat well with you, that you want to kind of recount, something that was a really great experience?
This
Mm.
year or ever?
So tell me a great story, wherever you got.
Okay. I choose. Do you want to go, Noah, first? You can go first.
There's just a lot.
Okay.
No, you
I'm
go
gonna
ahead.
say Red Ants Pants Festival,
Mm.
Montana. White Sulphur Springs, Montana. And us and our Minnesota selves, like, we're not prepared at all for elevation sickness. Okay,
Mm.
didn't think about it at all. And then also had never been to Montana. So like it's dusty, it's like 90 something degrees. We roll up the same day that we're gonna like perform, but it's so exciting because it's in this giant pasture of like, I think it's just like a cow pasture or whatever. It's like in fields. Montana has no trees, which is so weird because we're from Minnesota and there's trees everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But so there's like no trees, giant pasture, 90 something degrees, sun, elevation, and we just roll up and we're like attempting to, we played our set, we did it. Like I couldn't breathe. We needed way more water than we needed than we had. Right after this, like halfway through the set, I'm like panting. It's just too hot and like everything is terrible. But there's a crowd out there and it's really cool and it's so exciting because we've just like, it's a great festival in Montana. So we're like living it up, you know. But then directly after the set, Noah and I are both like, we're gonna die. We're gonna, and like went into a car and we're just like zombies, like breathing, staring and doing nothing for I don't know how long it was.
I for sure had heat stroke.
It was definitely heat stroke or elevation sickness and etc. I don't know. After we somewhat came back to being human form, which I don't know how long that was, there was like this water, what's it called? A quarry?
It's a quarry. Yeah.
It's a quarry not far away as the sun was going down. So our whole band, I had my kids with me on tour too, and they were like 6th grade and 4th grade at the time. We all went out to this quarry and like skipped rocks and like swam in this beautiful lake. And there was the mountains and the sun was going down. And I was just like, this is one of the most beautiful moments ever. We had this bassist playing with us that like was some kind of pro rock skipper. I don't know. He was impressing everyone with his rock skipping skills. And it's just like, this is a moment and a day that like I will definitely remember forever. I was super happy that my kids were there too. And like, it was just like a full moment of just, I don't know, being very, very grateful for getting to do music and also be a mother and, you know, all of it. Great memory.
Oh, for sure. Do you have one other that you want to share?
I don't know that I can follow that. I think Megan has convinced me that's the best show. But a couple honorable mentions would be there. We got to open for Travis Tritt a couple years ago at Amsoil Arena. That was pretty cool. Play like a real big show. Just this year, we went to Indiana and we did what's called the Wild Rose Moon Feeder, which was like on paper very weird because it's like a variety show that we played for, but it ended up being so much fun and we were involved with like the game show aspect of it and it was really, really cool and they did a great job there too.
It's on YouTube.
Last one,
look it up.
and it's on YouTube.
Okay.
It's on YouTube.
Or
The last
don't.
one I'll say,
I don't know, but yeah.
the last one I'll say is I just like I always remember this memory because there was not that many people at this show, but we have a bluegrass festival in Minnesota called Mabatma, which is just like a bluegrass, like a traditional bluegrass festival. But sometimes they will have like more contemporary bluegrassy artists. We're not really bluegrassy, but you know, kind of the banjo. But there was one time we were playing there that as soon as we started playing and the sun was setting, we happened to be like in front of a barn and they opened up the door to let all the horses out behind us just as we started playing. And it was just like in a super cool scene. So those are like three benchmarks. Yeah.
I got video of that because I, of course, am always taking video, but that video, it's so cool. Sound check. And I was like, oh my God, there's the horses. And I should have been doing something else with my time, like checking my guitar, but that was a great video.
The horses were running, you have to film them, right?
Come on. Yeah.
Yeah. You have to have a story from, you played a lot of weddings, right? So there's gotta be a good wedding story that you could share.
Okay. Yep. There is.
Are you going to tell the same one that comes to my mind? Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, because it's outstanding. So we did this strange wedding. It was a couple who were getting remarried, and they
remarried. You said.
Yeah, remarried. They had
Okay.
both been, both been married before, I think. Whatever, which is great.
Oh, I thought you meant
But
remarried together, like this second
no,
time.
no.
Okay.
They were both getting remarried. Sorry. So second
Carry
time
on.
around for both of them. But they were a very unique couple, which is great. You know, all sorts of different types of love. But it just sometimes people get big ideas, especially for music, and they're not really sure how to execute it, but they think everything's going to be fine, and that's fine. We did some traditional like English government like political hymns, which were strange. Like we did like "I vow to thee, my country," but we changed it to "I vow to thee, my Heidi," and that's great. But what really was the kicker is the bride's son was like 17, and she requested that he would sing a duet with Megan, uh, "A Whole New World" from the Disney movie Aladdin.
Mhm.
But the problem is he did not ever take the time to learn that song.
Oh.
So when we got up there, I was playing guitar, Megan was singing, and the son was singing. So I turned to face him and to sing his part into his ear so that he could sing it then with Megan.
It was
And
Wow,
was
that's
just
awkward 3 minutes of my life. Yeah, for sure.
like, no, you can't just sing it together. You have to pretend like he knows the song. Like,
Mhm.
what? Where did that even come from?
It's not
But-
only that song, but it's also with a duet with a kid that doesn't even know that
Yeah.
song. Like,
yes.
he's doing a Little Mermaid song. Like, what?
Like, it's
Anyway,
not special to him at all or anything, or like
No,
it's,
he didn't
there's
care,
nothing.
but he was up
Yeah.
there. So
they
that
loved
was
it.
that.
They
Mhm.
loved it.
They
and
did.
it was
They ate it
important
up.
to them, and that's what matters. But
Mhm. They
there's
were very
been some
happy, and that's the
interesting
important thing.
moments at
Yeah.
weddings, for sure.
It's exciting times. Exciting times. And you have a bunch of shows coming up too. I imagine you're gonna be playing songs off the new album, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
we don't have that many more songs left because we're kind of winding down, I'm sure people in other states just keep it rolling all the way
Mhm.
through winter, but Minnesota, we wind it down.
Sounds travel.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to schlep their gear in 2 feet of snow. So we've got our giant party celebration. It's also this year serving as our album release celebration. It's called Amerigrass, which is at the Hook and Ladder Theater in Minneapolis, which is going to be a handful of bands that it's going to be a fantastic night. Otherwise, we have like maybe 5 or 6 other shows in the region, and then just chill out for a little bit and gather ourselves for next year.
Awesome. That's awesome. Well,
Yeah.
Megan, Noah, thank you for taking the time. I love all the stories that you
Yeah.
shared tonight, and appreciate you taking time into your late evenings. But I know you're up at 3 writing songs, so
That's true. It's true, no big deal. I don't
So
need
no
to sleep.
big deal.
what else are you gonna do at 3 a.m.?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, have a great evening ahead, and good luck with the release of the album and the shows that are coming up and everything with Maygen and the Birdwatcher.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much. Thanks for
Really
talking
appreciate
with
being
us.
here.
We appreciate you. Yeah.
That was my interview with Maygen and the Birdwatcher, and that takes us to the final segment on the program, the music news. Couple of stories to wind out the program today. So the first being about Foreigner, a band that's been on Concert Pipeline 3 times in the past, I believe. I've interviewed 3 different members of the band. Well, the current lead singer, Kelly Hansen, played his final show with Foreigner. He's been the frontman of Foreigner for a while. A lot of members of Foreigner have changed. But he played his final show on October 11th at the Hard Rock Live in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Said an emotional goodbye to the crowd. He had a long list of thank yous, including his bandmates, crew, managers, his wife, and the fans. He concluded with, "Thank you guys. for being here. Thank you guys. And I'm speaking collectively to not only you guys who are here tonight, but whoever might be viewing this on the internet sometime later. Thank you all for your support. I've been in this business, I think about 48, 49 years. I put in my time. I spent 20 years with this fantastic band singing a catalog of songs that a singer couldn't dream of. And thank you. Hanson revealed that he was leaving the legendary arena rock band during an appearance on the season finale of The Voice back in May. Guitarist Luis Maldonado is taking over lead vocals for Kelly. And so I guess you'll be able to see those performances soon when they come to fruition. All right. The Osbournes visited a huge Halloween pumpkin mural of Ozzy at Hampshire Farm. Sharon, along with Jack and Kelly Osbourne, who appeared with her fiance, Slipknot's Sid Wilson, visited the Ozzy Pumpkin Pyramid at Sunnyfields Farm in Taunton, Hampshire. The family were given a guided tour by the owners, and they were all seen boarding a cherry picker to get a bird's eye view of the Ozzy mural. Each year, the farm builds a mural from pumpkins, the subject of which is decided by public vote. Previously, they've competed designs based on the Beetlejuice, Paddington, The Nightmare Before Christmas, and the latter of which won a Guinness World Record for the largest cucurbit mural. And 70% of the vote was for an Ozzy-themed mural in the wake of his passing in July. And you can find this online. It's pretty incredible. It's pretty heartwarming just to see. I mean, they have a bunch of orange pumpkins around the border, of course, some black pumpkins for his hair and eyes and features, and a cross, around his neck, blue shirt. I mean, it's a pretty touching sight, and it looks like a lot of pumpkins. And it's just a great tribute to Ozzy Osbourne. So very cool to see. Ronnie Wood says that the new Faces album has stalled. It's hard to make our times tally, he said. They've been trying to make their first record together in over 50 years. And rumors of a reunion for the group, which also features Rod Stewart and drummer Kenny Jones, have been swirling for several years now, as it stepped up a notch in June when Wood joined Stewart during his Legend slot appearance at Glastonbury 2025 for the Faces classic Stay With Me. And Jones appeared to confirm that a new album from the band was in the works in an interview with The Telegraph earlier this year, revealing they'd recorded about 11 tracks. And now on a recent appearance, Wood has offered an update on the progress of the record, saying that their respective diaries have made it difficult to push forward. We've got these songs that we're working on from back in the day, but it's hard to make our times tally. When we do get a chance to get in the studio again, we'll finish off these songs. We've got a good body of songs going. Okay, well, you might want to hurry because, time is kind of limited. Good luck to you, though. All right. No Doubt has announced the 2026 Las Vegas Sphere residency, their first run of shows in 14 years. And you all know I am a sucker for nostalgia and reunion shows after a large number of years. So they're going to play for 6 nights in May. You can sign up for pre-sale, get tickets, all of that soon. But they're officially announced. And I'll tell you, I've tried to get any of my friends to go with me to one of these shows. I just can't do it alone. I don't think I'm built for Vegas. I very much want to go to the Sphere. I did not want to see any of the bands that have played there, although I'm sure I'd have a good time. But I would not go in for just anybody. I would go for No Doubt. Love me some No Doubt, and love me a good reunion show. Also, that would be incredible. But it'd be very expensive and difficult to coordinate, and none of my friends are on board, much to my chagrin. So, may or may not be going. Probably not, but I wish I could. All right, and lastly, the Foo Fighters played an album version of Breakout for the first time since 2002. Dave said, "Let's do something we haven't done in a long, long time." At the gig, which took place on October 10th. At the Glion Arena in Kobe, Japan, they played the album version of a track from their third album release, There's Nothing Left to Lose. It's the second on the album and is released as the fourth single from the release. So it's just a unique opportunity to play a song that they have not been playing in a long time. So that is pretty cool. Seems like they're having a good time over in Japan on this tour. I hope to see them at some point in Northern California, since I didn't get to see them down in Los Angeles for their surprise show. So that is our show for today. Thank you for tuning in. We're going to close it out with one more song from the format set at Hollywood Forever Cemetery. This is the one that I love. This is called The Compromise. For all of us here at Concert Pipeline, I'm Steve Jones. We'll catch you next time.
If all mistake is there's one taking chances. I can call this out for one. I'm taking one step close to being just where I want to be. Away from this mistake. Away from this machine. If you can't dance,